Afternoon, folks. Just another little bulletin from Toronto. Oh, Ouija wants to get away. Been a long time no see since my last little rant, but anyway, so here we go. So again, it was out quite early this morning on a Saturday, and the Toronto Transit Commission, the TTC, in their wisdom, decided to, close down the main north-south subway line, running what they call shuttle buses, which are absolutely crammed to the gunnels as usual. Lots of the usual rude, ignorant bastards, on board. So I naturally avoided the transit and walked wherever I could. So anyway, a few things have happened since my last little bulletin late last year, namely that I now work in a different location, the Eaton Centre, which is right in downtown Toronto. The same job basically, only more fucking dire. I have to run around like a fucking idiot for the same money or less even, put up with all sorts of fucking cretins, the same shit, precocious fucking female manager who I think she thinks that she's an executive or something, and obviously on low pay, but to her I suppose she's earning a bit more than her previous job, which was working in Tim Hortons. Now, to anybody that doesn't really know much about Canada, Tim Hortons is a sort of an institution here. It's a chain of coffee shops founded by the great, I think he was a hockey player, Tim Horton, going back some years. They're all franchises now, so actually to buy a franchise for a Tim Hortons location, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, in fact millions of dollars, particularly for the really prime, busy locations. They're all, of course, staffed by mainly third world people, on minimum wage, and the general scenario is you go in and you order something, and 9 out of 10 times, in my opinion, what you get isn't what you ordered. Or you end up paying for something which you don't receive. And when you actually question this, you get a blank look, and you're called a racist or something. So that's the general thing. So that sort of leads me on to the multiculturalism here in Toronto. Now, years ago, a lot of immigrants to Canada were from Britain and other European countries. By and large, the ordinary bloke came from an impoverished area of England, say Northern England, where there's hardly any work or no work, Scotland and Northern Ireland, and of course from the Irish Republic as well. So they came into Canada, with the expectations that they'd at least find work. So, they got jobs, on the Transit Commission, say, on the building trade sites, that sort of thing, depending where they come from, or in engineering, if they came from Scotland, that they were, redundant shipyard workers, or from Tyneside again, redundant shipyard workers, people from Liverpool and the area that worked in some kind of industry, or even the Midlands, the car industry or something like that. They all came and worked here, and I suppose in a sense they made a little bit better go of it than what they would have done back home. So then they sort of integrated, and now they're being replaced, and for some years, by chiefly people from the third world that are used to much lower standards. But this is all part of the master plan, really. So when you get a bus that's crammed to capacity to the stage where it's dangerous, that's okay because, you know, countries like India and China, you know, that's the half of the course basically, where people hang off of the outside of trains and buses, and you know, so they're heading towards that now. It's a sort of a lowering standards by stealth basically. Another thing is that I found this for some time that Johnny Englishman is universally hated basically. You know, as soon as they suss out your English, you know, you're not liked at all. And of course, the reason for this mostly is because you're a nasty colonialist, that you went to their countries in the 19th century chiefly, you bled them dry, you murdered the people, you got fat off the profits, and so you're an object of derision, really. Another aspect is that there's a lot of other people from from Europe as well that their countries had, you know, colonial powers like Portugal, France, Spain, but it's Johnny Englishman who's the most hated, and of course such a nasty little man he is, and you know, according to my ex-manager, should be eradicated and bred out of existence. So that comes to something else that I was walking around a supermarket this afternoon, you know, perusing the overpriced articles in there, and I walked past this black girl, you know, who were probably not too long ago, you know, she was living in a fucking shack in the Caribbean or somewhere, and she said to me that she would appreciate it if I didn't follow her, which was quite surprising to me really, because, you know, I wasn't following her anyway, you know, I was just looking at the frozen peas and stuff, you know, and, you know, the idea that even an old fucker like me would want to have anything to do with some fat ass Jamaican bird, you know, is absolutely out of the fucking question. So anyway, I just ignored her, you know, because one gets used to ignoring people here, you know, unfortunately, you know, it tends to sort of rub off on you, you know, when you're living in a city with, you know, so many fucking ignorant people. It's almost as though all the fucking arseholes and ignorant bastards in the world have all suddenly been tipped into Toronto. Another thing that's laughable as well is that, you know, these people are meant to be the creme de la creme of their societies. They're all professionals, and, you know, they're all, you know, got masters in this and degrees in that and blah blah blah, you know. But the bottom line, again, to you know, cite a very worn phrase from this old manager in question, is that hardly any of them speak English to any degree. They never learn it on any level, and they all end up working as parking attendants or something. Oh, of course they go to college and they try and get Canadian experience, Canadian degrees, etc. But they spend thousands of dollars, and then at the end of it all, they're just a fucking parking attendant still, or they're working in Tim Hortons for minimum wage, or they're working in Canadian Tire, or somewhere like that, you know, all with big shot ideas. Oh yeah, they're all great photographers, they're great filmmakers, they're, you know, very gifted people. But again, to use the phrase, the bottom line is that you can't see anything. There's nothing to show. I mean, I've had people tell me how great a photographer they are. When you ask to see their work, suddenly they don't have any, you know. Or they might have a few naff fucking photographs, you know, that they've compiled over the years, and this is their body of work. You know, again, I was talking to a girl today who worked in the Sears photographic studio, if you can call it that. And just out of curiosity, I asked to see the facility. She was trying to flog me this package of portraits under the con that you got a free portrait. But then, of course, the idea is that they try and con you into buying about $250 worth of fucking prints. But nonetheless, I quite frankly told her I wasn't interested. And I said, you know, look, I'm not going to buy anything, but you know, just show me around. So with that, she did, and you know, there's a little studio there, and I said, oh, I said, you have hot lights here. Hot lights, she said. I said, yes, hot lights. She didn't have a fucking clue what I was on about. You know, I said, I like your camera stand. You know, again, she didn't know what I meant. You know, again, but of course she had a degree in photography. You know, and again, it's sort of quite funny, really, that you know, this is, to come to a society like this and see this for your own self. You can actually just realise how dumbed down society has become. The education system, if you can call it that. But of course, you know, this is the new people. This is what they want, you know, so that they can be easily manipulated. You can be taxed to fuck, and you know, at the end of the day, you'd be so glad that you're on your minimum wage and you're such a big shot. But there's a little bit of advice. When I go about the city, I sometimes meet British people, and the only ones that have done any good are the people that have come here, say with their companies, so they've had a job to come to, they've had accommodation, there's an infrastructure to support them, and you know they're set up more or less. Your average ordinary Joe soap like me, you can fucking forget it. There's no infrastructure, no support system. Well, there is, of course, if you come from all the dearth of third world countries. There's social workers, there's this, there's that. You know, you sort of you're well looked after. You know, you can get what they call government housing, whereby you pay a percentage of your wage. So if you're on a minimum wage, then you pay about, say, $150 a month rent, as opposed to, say, what I pay, you know, which is over $700. You know, things like that. So there's this support system in motion that's going to help you. But the likes of your ordinary Joe, say, coming from Britain, factory worker or whatever it might be, you're not wanted, pal. They're not interested in you. You know, the only white people that come here generally, you know, are from Eastern Europe, from the old communist countries, whereby again they're used to a lower standard. Having said that, their education seems to be a tad more than your average, and but again, you know, your lot in life is probably to be a security guard or something like that. Again, you know, you're not looking at a big wage, and you know, again, you have to take all these courses, blah blah blah, and at the best of it, you may get into, say, the police force, but again, you know, that's pretty unlikely. So what else do I have to say? Not that much really today. Only, you know, I intend to go out and about a bit more, you know, explore a few more avenues. I have met some rather nice people working at the Eaton Centre. I've done what they call networking, as they say here in Canada. I've met a few nice ladies that seem to quite like me, and you know, at the end of the day, if I get anywhere, it's not for my ability really, it'll be for who I know and who's going to put a word in for me. So on that note, folks, until the next time, over and out and cut.